Welcome to our oils in case of emergency class, also known as the fanny pack if you live in the US, or the moon bag if you live in Europe or South Africa class. We're going to talk about things that we have learned to keep on hand in case of emergency and how they have come in handy. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Crystal to kick us off because she is the fanny pack queen. You're on mute. You're on mute. Or maybe not Crystal. Should we hand it over to someone else while we wait for Crystal to figure out her computer issues? See, this is why we start a couple minutes past the hour. Tina, you want to go up? Well, Crystal tries to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, hey guys, I'm Tina Cecila and I live in Alabaster, Alabama. It's 92 degrees here today. So I don't have the fanny shaped pack. I do have one, I just haven't moved into it. This is the bag that I typically carry with me everywhere I go, and it has a bunch of stuff. Yesterday we drove over to Atlanta for the day just to celebrate my daughter's birthday. So I grabbed a few things that I needed and I just put it in this little canvas bag. What I want to share with you is what we love to use for seasonal issues. Right now, we've got this pandemic pollen going on in the Southeast. I think if you've been around here, and you may even hear it in my sinuses, I love lemon, lavender, and peppermint for that. But when you're going places, that's 3 bottles, lemon, lavender, and peppermint, equal drops, right? That's 3 bottles you got to take with you. What I do is I encourage people to save your empty bottles. When you save your empty bottles, you can just take the label right off of the bottle, and it might be sticky, so you can use your lemon to get it off. You just peel the label off of an empty bottle. You're going to take the lid off and then take the reducer cap off. So you literally just have an empty 15 ml bottle, right? Just like Allie was talking about, she likes to do with her skinny recipe. That's what I have done here. So this is my bottle that I keep with me all the time. It has lemon, lavender, and peppermint in it, but it's all in one bottle. So I'm reducing the number of bottles that I'm having to carry in this fun little thing. So these little silicone holders are great. They're at younglivinggear.com. They come in a set, different colors, different seasons. But then these little lids, just depending on what you're needing it for, this one pops open and then I can just dispense the oil out that way. You can also get these tiny little dropper bottles to help you dispense. And then they even have spray bottles that fit on these empty bottles. So when you are looking to kind of condense all the things that you carry with you, consider repurposing, recycling, reusing those bottles that you have, and then making ahead of time your blends that you love to have. You could think about a digestive blend to have on the go. This morning, our oldest daughter woke up with vomiting and diarrhea and all the yucky things that go with that. I think she probably just picked up a germ somewhere, but we would be able to have that blend of digestive oils to help with her get over those yucky symptoms. So as you're packing your moon bag or your fanny pack, just look at ways that you can take more with you and make it easier for you. One last thing, the roller fitments. Those are great to put on top of something that you need to just grab and open and roll on somewhere. Grab those and put those on your bottles too. Make your bag work for you so that when you open it and pull things out, it's easy to do.
I think Crystal, are you working now?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, great. So sorry about that earlier. I had changed my Zoom settings and evidently I had to go all the way back into Zoom and change them to unmute myself. I wanted to just pop on for a second and share. I grabbed my fanny pack or my moon bag, as you guys may call it, somewhere in South Africa or Europe. But I have many different ones. And what I've done is I have a bag that I carry for different occasions. So I have one that's a little bit dressier that I can wear with casual clothing and maybe out and about shopping. So I don't know if you've thought about doing this, but I have one that's more athletic looking that I use at the beach. And then I have another one that's a little bit smaller, and it's just for like a quick trip to the store or somewhere like that. And I keep them already packed. So I just grab what I need when I need it and I go. And some of the things that I keep in here, in addition to, I'm going to share with you a few of these oils that I keep always in each one of these bags. But before I do that, I want to share some things you might not have thought about to put in your bag. These are things that sometimes in the last little minute, and you're out and about and you don't have paper towels or toilet paper or whatever, and somebody gets hurt, you want to have at least a wipe or some tissue and a couple of band-aids just for those moments, because hey, when you're out and about, you've got to stop the bleeding, right? But geranium oil is another one that I like to use for that, and helichrysum. So if you have either of those two oils, or cypress, because I know Allie, you love cypress for that too. So there's several oils. Lavender would be another really good one for that too. And then you can put that gauze or band-aid or whatnot on and then go about what you're doing. The other thing that I like to take along is little packets from the Young Living that I get here and there. And if you don't have access to these, maybe somebody else does and they can get you one. This is just a Cool Azul pack. I also have a little tin of CBD that I carry around. And you never know when it's not always just you and your family. It may be somebody else that you are able to help. So down here at the beach where I live, I've been able to help a lot of people who maybe didn't prepare ahead of time for having a little accident or having a little something happen. And they don't want to have to go all the way back in just to take care of a small thing. And I often have things for them. And when I see something like that and I see that they're looking around for help, I usually go and introduce myself and see how I can be there for them. And I've been able to do that many times, which is fun. I actually enjoy it. And it's funny because I don't like blood and I don't like emergencies. And yet I keep being put in situations where I have to attend to it. And every single time, the rush of adrenaline that comes over me allows me to handle the situation way better than I would have with my own kids and my own family. So when I'm helping other people, it's like I turn into this first aid fairy that I'm not with my own family. Sometimes I just look at my husband and I'm like, take care of it, please. And I make him do it because he's a nurse practitioner and he knows what he's doing. So another thing I like to do is take alkaline packets. And I don't know if some of you have access to these, but I fully believe that these are lifesavers, put in your water for electrolyte balance. And often in the heat or in situations where people are stressed out, these come in handy. So another oil that I'm going to tell you about that I use a lot is copaiba. This works for a lot of things, but it also helps with whatever oil that you have that you're using. It helps to make that oil work even better. So this is kind of my little steroid type oil that I use. And I make all of the oils that I'm using even more effective by using copaiba. But also, here's another thing I'm going to tell you about. I like to put, and this what you would do with the Vitality, I like to just put a few drops under my tongue every now and then. So if I have to be the first aid fairy and my adrenaline gets up, I like to calm myself with using some copaiba, and it's got such a mild flavor and taste. You can barely taste it at all, that I have no problem at all just putting a couple of drops under my tongue when I need a little chill. Lavender, again, we mentioned it earlier, for bruising or for bleeding or any kind of situation that you come upon like that. Also for burns. And I just want to tell y'all, I've had I actually tan really easily and quickly, but I can also get a little bit of a burn here and there in the early part of the spring and summer. I like to use lavender oil to help turn that pink or redness over to tan. And I usually can get that done within an hour to 2 hours if I'm religious about using it every 10 to 20 minutes on the area. So you can make the spray with it. I often put it with silver and spray. I have a mister bottle and I can just sit and spray myself every 10 minutes. And within an hour to 2 hours, a lot of times that heat that's on my skin will just tone down. And then I don't peel or anything. So I don't know what kind of skin you have, but this is for those who still can tan a little bit. And I tell you, it works like a charm. So lavender oil, and then I keep one of these bottles with me always because you never know when you're going to need it. And there's a lot of bonfires out here. I don't know if Stacy's on this call or not, but she actually had her pants caught on fire in in one of our bonfires a couple of months ago. I'm glad we didn't have to rip out the lavender for your fanny, Stacy. Another thing that you might not have thought about with all these oils, how are you going to use a carrier oil on the go, right? So lavender lip balm is my best friend for that. So you just stick this in your fanny pack, and this is like your little carrier oil in a stick. You rub it on and then use whatever oil you need. It's the easiest way. It doesn't melt in the heat, and the best way that I know to use a carrier oil when I'm on the go. So those are just a few of the things that I have in my big bag, but also a few of the things that I like to have on hand. And I hope that that helps you guys. I love being prepared because you never ever know when you're going to be able to help someone else out. And then that in turn is going to help them get oily. This is the special season for that, where we can help people get out and about as you can and be on the lookout. And I will tell you, it's kind of like when you get a new car and you start seeing that car everywhere else. Once you have attended your first on the fly oily emergency, often you will begin to notice other times that you can help people, and they just pop up more often. So happy oiling to all of y'all. I hope those help.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Oh my gosh, such great tips. I love hearing from Crystal, and everything she does, I definitely do too. I'm Stacy McQuaid and I'm in Hiawassee, Georgia, and I absolutely love several of the ones that Crystal mentioned. And I have a cute little story, if you don't mind me sharing the story, but Gary Young, when I first met him, he was teaching our family how to snow ski. And me and him got on the whatever that thing is that you travel up to where they take you off, like gondola or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was on there with him, just me and him, and I was nervous as heck because this is the first time I've really been around him one-on-one. And so I said, "Oh, well, you know what? I brought oils. I was so proud. I said, I brought oils with me today. I said, and I whipped out my pocket and I said, these are the two oils I have. It's Deep Relief and Helichrysum." And he goes, "Do you know what? That's the same exact oils I have with me today." And I went, "Really?" And so I thought that's pretty good, because I thought, Deep Relief, first time skiing. I just might have a little pain that I might need to rub this on. And if I fall into something, I might, and I start bleeding, I'm going to need it to stop. So I'm going to need the Helichrysum really quick. And so, needless to say, thank goodness, well, I did use a Deep Relief later on, did not have to use the Helichrysum for bleeding, but it was amazing that, you know what, Gary always had his oils with him on the go too. And so I was just like, okay, we can do this. We can make this happen. And the funny story is Gary, when he taught me how to ski, the poles for me were like sticks, like those were the things that were going to really help me to stay up. He wanted me to hold them out in front of me and go down without the sticks. I'm thinking, how do you tell Gary Young no? And I'm thinking, these are my lifeline sticks to hold on to these little sticks into the ground to get me where I need to go. never thought Gary Young would be picking me up off the snow either. So, but I had great times with Gary, and he taught me lots. And he loved helichrysum, and this is one of my favorite oils. We use this. We were out and about with my daughter, and a rope went across the top of her skin and automatically took off layers of skin off of her ankle area. And so, needless to say, I had this in my bag, and I poured this on her ankle, and you actually could see the skin laying back down and starting to just heal itself. And I was like going, oh my gosh, it is actually doing it. And Gary once told me, he said, because we get our helichrysum from Croatia, he told me, he said, when he would cut it on Monday, by Friday, it would grow back to the same distance as what he cut it off. And so it is a regeneration oil. So it regenerates quickly. And so I absolutely love helichrysum. That is one of my favorites. I hoard that oil. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a great one to use your ER points with. So always be on ER so you can definitely use those points, because I love getting free oil, especially the more expensive ones with my points and everything. In the very beginning, my bag, I had a small little bag like Tina held up earlier, and it was real small when I started out. And then you saw her bigger bag that she had. I had a bigger bag. The more I got into oils and the more freebies I got by being on essential oils, I would always do 300 PV so I could get as much free oils as possible, because I wanted to share them with others. Because like Crystal said, when you're out and about, it's just something when you're able to help somebody when they're either sneezing, or I remember my girlfriend, she had broke her tooth, and I saw her at church, and I looked way over at her and I said, hey, how's your tooth? And she goes, oh. And I said, meet me in the bathroom. So we go in the bathroom, and she drops one drop of thieves oil in her mouth on top of where her broken tooth was. And she goes, I've been popping Lortab all weekend long, and this oil within like 3 seconds stopped the pain. And I was fixing to go to the emergency room. I was like, well, I'm so happy I could help you and everything. So I'm telling you, just having your oils and being able to help somebody in their life in an instant, like I would get little old ladies that have arthritis in their hands, and my girlfriend, she would laugh at me. She goes, because I would only oil one hand up and the other hand would still be hurting. And I would walk away because I would say, hey, if you want more of that, get back with me and everything. And she would go on, well, why wouldn't you do the other hand? I said, because I wanted her to realize like our oils do work. Like this one doesn't hurt and this one still hurts. I need that girl. So she needs to get back with me. So anyway, those are some fun stories. I love also the Calm CBD. If anybody's ever anxious, need to calm down, and those situations when there's might be blood. I'm with Crystal. I do not like blood, but I love being on hand and being able to help somebody out in a pinch. So anyway, I'm going to throw it back over to Allie. Thank you so much for hosting this today.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, so I'm going to go about this a little differently. My fanny pack or my moon backpack is like the real life is that I don't live by the beach. So I'm pretty much carrying my handbag. And because I carry so many oils with me, I carry a backpack because I've realized that my shoulders can't handle the amount of things I need to carry all the time. So I'm going to tell you what I carry in here. So I have this guy here, and I have this pouch here. And then in my front little pocket, I always have a Thieves hand sanitizer, always, which is handy for so many things, right? And kind of feels like it leaked in there. Anyway, so let me share with you this guy, and I highly encourage you to find something that works for you. This one holds 40 oils, and it's very compact. And the oils it's actually, I think, holds 5 milliliter bottles. So this is 5 milliliters worth in here. So it's a good amount of oil that I can carry, and I just refill them as needed. And I carry a lot of things in there. Actually, I was just looking that I don't have helichrysum in here, and it's crazy because I use that oil all the time, and I need to have specifically helichrysum in here. But I carry a lot of things that are kind of the most commonly used oils, but it holds 40 oils, so I can really have a good assortment with me. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about that clutch in a minute. And then I carry this guy here. This was a free promo in the States a while back, and it's just a great bag. It doesn't really matter the bag. I'm going to share with you what I have in it. So this is a homemade DIY lip balm. I'm kind of obsessed with sensation oil. I like to use it, so I make a lip balm out of it. It's really good. This is my son's ADD roll-on, which is vetiver and cedarwood, so that we can stay sane while we're out and at restaurants. Of course, I have a couple of Savvy Minerals lipsticks. I have a DIY, this is actually DIY too. This is just water and peppermint oil that I use as a breath spray and a cooling spray. If I don't want to, like, it's a little strong to just do a drop of peppermint straight up on your tongue for some people. So this is, let's see, what else do I have here? This is the Young Living bug repellent in a roller bottle. So I can just roll the bug repellent on as needed, because mosquitoes love me. Always have a deep relief. Always have a deep relief. I have 3 rollers in here. I always have a Stress Away. You can see it's pretty beaten up. And I always have a Valor. So I just always need this, right? This is just carrier oil in case I need a carrier oil for something, but I love Crystal's idea of just using the lip balm. But I actually have popped the fitment on this before when people have gotten like oils in eyes and things like that. I have a boo-boo spray. So this is lavender and helichrysum and coconut oil. So, and I don't know about you guys, but like when my kids have an injury, I don't want to touch it. So I like to spray this on an injury from enough distance that they don't scream, and it's very, very soothing. This is a Don't Bug Me spray, which is, okay, you can tell that I have a mosquito situation with my life because I have like all the bug repellent in my handbag, but that's just citronella and purification with some witch hazel and water. And a couple of, I mean, I can fit a lot in this bag. Of course, I have a nail file. I have a key to my house. And I have, this is a little nasal, one of those nasal things that you can soak the little pad inside in oils. And this is RC and Raven, just to open up for congestion. I have a CBD like Crystal has. And then this is an animal sense ointment, because you just never know when like you need an ointment of some kind. So that is what I carry with me all the time. And then I want to tell you one quick story about this little guy here. So this is a good size. I mean, it's pretty small for what it holds, like 40 oils, but it's, you know, it's a good size, right? So I was going to an event, a Girl Scout luncheon with a bunch of women and our girls. And we had a table for the girls and we had a table for the kids. And at the very last minute, I decided, I'm just going to bring this just in case. Like I only had a clutch with me because I had my luncheon dress on, right? And I was like, just going to grab this because you just never know, right? You just never know what you need. And I literally went back inside to grab it, threw it in my clutch because I had space for it. And then I left for the luncheon. Well, there was a girl whose mother was in Europe while we were in Dallas, Texas at this luncheon. And we did not know that this child had anaphylactic allergies. And she ate a bite of dessert and it had a nut in it that it was hazelnut that she had anaphylactic reaction to. So the moms were at one table, the girls were at the other. And one of the girls came to me directly because every other girl at that table and their mom was using oils, like had Young Living in their home, except for, of course, this girl who had the reaction to the hazelnut. So her mom, no one had an EpiPen, and we were just like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And I was like, hang on, actually the other moms didn't even know what was going on. So I just grabbed my purse and I went over there and I put my hand on the little girl. She was burning up. So I don't know if you've ever realized when someone has an anaphylactic reaction, their body temperature goes way up. And so I had my hand on her, I'm down on the ground, I'm talking to her, and I said to her, I'm going to put some lavender under your tongue. It's going to taste horrible, but I'm hoping that you then can breathe. And then I prepped the other little girls to get her something tasty afterwards to cover the taste of the lavender. And I kid you not, I put maybe 2 tiny drops from these little baby bottles in my handbag of lavender under her tongue. And I just felt her body temperature come down to normal. And I said to her, are you okay? And she was like, oh my gosh, you saved my life. I can breathe again. Like she couldn't even cry because she couldn't breathe enough to cry. And this was, I think, 4 years ago. And still, when I see this little girl, she runs up to me and says to me, "You saved my life." And it wasn't me, right? It was just, I happened to have the right oil on hand. We were so lucky. I mean, I can't imagine having to rush her out of this luncheon to the hospital to try to find an EpiPen somewhere or something. So I just felt super, super lucky that all she had was a bad taste in her mouth, and we were able to fix the situation. So anyway, that's why we always have oils on hand. So with that, that's kind of what we wanted to share with you today. And I thought maybe we would just open it up for if anyone else has something they want to share of like, what is the thing that you always have on hand? And maybe you have a story about how you use that to help yourself or someone else that you care about or that you don't know.
Okay, Allie, I just want to say one other thing. When you are fixing to walk out the door and you hear that small little voice, go grab XYZ. I want to encourage you to go grab XYZ, because there have been so many times that I've been put in the situation, and Crystal's really good at this. She kind of, when she goes to the beach, she kind of goes, okay, what do I need to take today with me, and grabs that. But when you hear that small voice, go grab it, because I guarantee you're going to have an opportunity to be able to use XYZ that day, and you're going to want to have it on hand, because there's been times that I've been in a busy hurry out the door and I did not turn around, and I'd go, gosh, I wish I could have grabbed XYZ, because guess what? I could be using XYZ right at the moment on this sweet person that is in front of me, and I could be a help and a hand for them. So anyway.
Thank you. Amy, I see that did you have a story you want to share? Or is there anyone who does? You feel free to just unmute yourself or raise your hand. Yes, Bridget, I'll send you a picture, although I need to replace one with helichrysum because I just realized I have got to put that in my handbag. I do have lavender and Frank. Yes, go ahead, please. Christy.
Okay. This is my favorite story. It started whenever I just started with Young Living, and it was really funny because I had nothing to do with it, but I happened to be in Hawaii at the same time that the trip earners were there, and had just met Crystal not long before then. But we went out for a snorkeling trip one day, and it turns out that was one of the things that the Young Living people could have chosen to do. And so the boat was covered up with Young Living people, and I was like walking around, looking at everybody, looking at their bags, seeing what they had. I'm just in seventh heaven because I've only been oiling for a few months. And so went out snorkeling, had an absolutely wonderful time, but they didn't tell me that if you put your goggles on too tight, you can get motion sick. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't get any water in my goggles and everything. And so I was loving it, except that I started feeling horrible. And so I got back on the boat, and it was about time for us to head back. I missed the meal, everything. I mean, I was upchucking continuously. I couldn't move. And I finally looked at my husband and I said, go find one of those Young Living people. And so he went and asked somebody, and she said, and I wish to this day that I knew who the man was, but she said, oh, go ask so-and-so, he'll know what to do. And so he comes walking over with his oils, and he says, okay, I'm going to take a drop of frankincense and put it right here, not into my ear, but right here on the opening of the ear, at the ear canal. And he said, then I want you to cover your ears with your hands for 60 seconds. And so I'm sitting here thinking, partly going, this guy's got to be kidding. But other than that, I was so sick it didn't matter. So I did exactly that. 60 seconds later, I was fine. I mean, within less than 5 minutes, I was sitting up, walking around, slightly shaky, but by the end of the boat trip back to the dock, I went about my day like I had never had a minute's sickness. But on top of that, as soon as I was up and going, I discovered my youngest daughter was throwing her guts up. So went down and I said, could you do that one more time for me? And so he came over and put it on my daughter, and she was the same way. She was fine. So that is a definite frankincense whenever you're out. It was an incredible story.
That is amazing, Christy. I love it. This is my favorite part is like, oh, I would have never thought to have done that. I would think like aroma ease or dyes or something, but that's brilliant. Frankincense, like right around the ears. Brilliant, brilliant. Anyone else have a story they want to share? I know there's probably a million stories in this chat.
I'll share one.
Yes, Crystal, here, I'm
Okay.
going to replace you. There you go.
Okay. All right. So one time I was down at the beach and Hadley and I were leaving. And this was a day where we had actually driven over because we had a lot. And we were backing out and I saw a lady sitting on the sidewalk. And there was another lady over her, like leaned down, kind of talking with her. And I knew something wasn't right. So I put it back in park and I walked over. And evidently she had been running and she had been overheated. And she couldn't even really talk. She was overheated. It was evident that she was slumped over. And the lady behind her didn't know her, but she had just seen it happen. And so I had my fanny pack still on and I grabbed out Ninja pouch and peppermint. And that Ninja pouch was like, oh my gosh, it was water in a desert for her. And she immediately perked up between the two things. Anyways, the thing is I noticed, oh my goodness, I always carry these oils, but this one day I happened to put a Ninja pouch in there. And so now because of that, I almost always have a Ninja pouch with me. I never know when it might come in handy. And so even if you're just really thirsty and you forgot to pack a water bottle, right? It's like Ninja. It does a lot for us, right? So I love that story because that just shows the power, not just of the oils, but the oils that are in the Ninja and then the Ninja itself and the electrolytes that are in it. And do the research because there's so much going on, so much goodness in Ninja Red that I don't know what it did, but it was the exact combination for her. She was able to stand up and get in the truck when her boyfriend pulled up to, they were going to take her to urgent care, but she told him, sorry, I'm helping the puppy not get into cords right now. But she told him, she said, I don't need to go to urgent care anymore. I just need to go home and lay down and drink some water. So that's my story about also remembering that if you've got a little extra space, maybe put a pouch in there and you never know when it might come in handy for you, your family, or someone else.
Love it. Love it. Anyone else have something they want to share?
I'll share another one.
Hold on, let me replace you. There you go, Tina.
So, there's little traumas and big traumas, but when there's something going on and you're on the scene and you're trying to help people, I love what Crystal had said about, helping yourself with that Copa because you definitely have that flush of adrenaline. But there's been times that I've had to be around family members or friends when bad news was delivered to them, tragic deaths and such a thing, that I've been able to pull out my peppermint and just massage the feet of the people receiving that news. And, the body goes into this response of nausea and, headaches and just all of the side effects that come with that rush of adrenaline with the people receiving the bad news. So even if it's, whatever's going on, that peppermint can help soothe someone's stomach, oxygenate their body so that they can get the air they need, and be able to help them think clearly. I have a niece that lost her father suddenly and tragically. She was a freshman in college, and now she's finishing her doctorate with a doctor of osteopath. But she remembers me being able to whip out that peppermint. And you guys, I had just kind of started using oils. And so that little voice inside of me was like, oh, they're just going to think you're trying to sell them something. Push past that. Because to me, that's just like a dark enemy force that's trying to tell you not to do good in the world, and just do it anyway. Just, you don't have to say, this is my peppermint and I'm going to rub it on your feet. And these are the benefits of it. Just grab it and start anointing people with it. Feet, spine, back of the ears, top of the head, whatever. But also I love that, Allie, you carry that roller bottle of carrier oil, because be prepared for someone to say, my neck is burning or my feet are hot or whatever because of a hot oil like peppermint. So just be able to work safely but help people through some of this emotional stuff that they could be going through as well. A lot of loss going on right now. Think about people who are posting that they've lost a loved one. Just send them a bottle of joy. Send them, like a tiny little dram bottle of joy. Drop some happy mail into the mailbox for them. We've lost loved ones to where a roller of joy is what helped us put on a smile each day as we faced this side of heaven without that person. So doesn't mean that you're looking for them to enroll with you or to sign up and buy oils, but it just means that you're sharing those drops and getting them into the hands of the people that need them. Those drops of oils are definitely meant to share, not to stay in the bottle. So get out there and share them.
I totally agree with all those statements, Tina. Yes, especially the joy one, have pulled out joy for several people who are dealing with grief. It's a huge one to have on hand. We talk about the emergency oils a lot, but we have emergency emotions too. So that's a really good point. Okay, if no one else has something they want to share, I didn't want to hurry that, because a lot of times at the last minute, someone's trying to raise their hand. They've gotten some courage to speak. Put your valor on and share. So if not, I'll end the recording here.